Hi, it's Will from StormTheCastle.com, and look at my table. I'm going to have fish and chips today, but look, I got all kinds of stuff here. The record player, the Merrymead Castle, the Flying Fortress, pens and pencils, there's El Guapo. I'm clearly not going to eat at this table. I could take the time to clear it all off, but I'm not going to. The Wizard's table is clear, so I'll use that. Oh, there's some mead, my beautiful honeycomb clock that somebody gave me, a patron gave me. And look, after 20 videos, I don't have any more clocks. So I took the face off of one and added a little design. I kind of like that. There, now it's emblemized. Emblemized, is that a word? So in this video, this vlog, Friday Fish and Chips, I'm going to talk about meaning. And you kind of don't know what I'm inferring there, but you'll see. We'll get to it. I do have a couple other things I wanted to say about these vlogs, but let's put on a heavy winter coat, a scarf, and a hat, and head outside because the weather is not good. Okay, so I'm going to talk about meaning in this video, and I'm going to give you some examples from my life and some thoughts that I have about the whole thing of meaning. And by meaning, the meaning of it all. Meaning in life, the meaning of life, and finding meaning in life. And but first I wanted to say, you know, I did a whole bunch of these Friday Fish and Chips in a row, and I stopped doing them. I haven't done them for, I don't know, how long has it been? A couple of months? But that doesn't mean I've stopped doing them. I just don't want to do them just to do them. You know, I'm not looking to get the views here. I'm looking to try to share something that I think is of value to you, you know. And a couple of things have been gnawing at me. Bad choice of words, I guess, but a couple of things have been kind of tickling me, and I've been thinking about a lot lately to come to me throughout days, and I'm going to share that with you today in this vlog. Look at the size of that snow pile, huh? We had a lot of snow. We had something called the bomb cyclone come through. I never heard that term before. But we had a lot of snow come in really, really fast. And today is cleanup day. The plaza has been going all night. And people have been shoveling all morning. And yeah, it's kind of fun. I like it. It's cold. Really, really cold. But that's okay. You'll get to see a little bit of this snow here in New England. But anyway, back onto the subject of meaning. And let me start with astronomy. You know, we live on a planet that's, kind of an average distance away from very average star. Maybe a little closer than average to the star. And that star is in a pretty average location of a pretty average universe. And the galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy. And that galaxy is part of a group, is it called the Virgos? I think it's called the Virgo supercluster of galaxies. And it's probably a pretty average galaxy within that group, which is part of something called the supergroup of galaxies, which is, I think it has several thousand galaxies in it. And this, who knows what that is part of a larger group within the universe as a whole, and it's probably pretty average in its location. So we've got all this median stuff where everything's in the median, where the what's the word for that? It's just all so very average in terms of, the locations and mathematics of it and the time of it and the age of it all and everything. And it doesn't seem to be a coincidence to me. It is. It's not a coincidence. There's purpose in that. And I believe that if you're talking average about all of that, I think and you look at all the stars and all of that and all the galaxies and all just the beauty of it all and the majesty of it all and the absolute unbelievable scale of it all, I can't say that we're not alone, My guess is if you just keep on with the law of averages and of all this, of everything being average, we're probably an average planet and an average species within what is probably a universe that is probably teeming with life. That's what I believe. I believe the clues are all there. That we're not alone, that we're average, and there's lots and lots and lots. It's just as the earth is teeming with life that manages to find its way into every nook and cranny of the whole earth, I think it's probably the same thing with the whole universe. Life has probably found its way into every nook and cranny possible. It's just, I think someday it's going to be revealed to find out that, we're average. That's just, but that doesn't mean not special. That just means amongst many, It's just the remarkableness of it all is just amazing. And there's meaning in it. It's true. I'm not even going to say I believe it because it's just a simple fact. It isn't just a random assemblage of atoms. First off, there should be no atoms at all. There should be a significant nothingness. There shouldn't be a thought of a universe or a hint of a universe. There should be a nothingness, but there is a somethingness. And there's meaning in it. There's, I believe, deep meaning in it all. You should just be amazed at how beautiful it all is. It truly is. And the world we live in a weird world. This modern world we live in is really very strange. You can't. It's kind of a lot of static. It's very easy to kind of get lost or confused or distracted, because that's the world we've built. For most of humanity's existence, the Milky Way was out every night, and it's very deep and very rich and profoundly beautiful. And nowadays, an awful lot of people can't see it because of light pollution. If you haven't experienced the Milky Way from a true dark sky location, you're missing out on something. It's magnificent. It really is. So there's meaning there, and I'm not trying to say what exactly that meaning is. You can assign that how you see fit. But I believe there's a profundity in it. And you can take solace in knowing that. I talk to a lot of people. I'm very gregarious in public. I'll be at a store, I'll be at a restaurant, I'll be anywhere, I'll be at the DMV. It doesn't matter. I will talk to the people next to me, and usually they're taken aback by that. I'll start up conversations with a whole cross section of people publicly, and which is usually not at first accepted very well. It's because we have this, you're on the subway, nobody talks to anybody, everybody looks away, nobody makes eye contact, but I don't do that, and sometimes it makes people uncomfortable because I'm kind of a big guy, but eventually people come around and start conversing. And, well, I guess my point being there is that, we're all distracted a lot. And it kind of takes away from our ability and the time we should spend on reflection and meaning. So, I think you should do that. I think you should spend some time to reflect on meaning in life as a whole, or in your life. And know that there is meaning. The point I wanted to make was, I talked to a lot of people, and there seems to be an awful lot of people that are in distress. Well, I guess it doesn't matter, but I could give you examples. But a lot of people, I think, are in distress. And I tell a person when that comes out, I say, it isn't you. You're living in a crazy world. The world is kind of set up to make you distressed, to keep the endorphins flowing, and you keep your elevated senses going, and keep inputting all kinds of crazy stuff into you, and to keep the stimuli going. It's the world. You got to understand that. You can, disconnect from some of that stuff for a while and start to find, a quietness within yourself. It's there. And it's true. So let me give you an insight. A few months back, I went to Grand Canyon. I think I talked about that. And I do have some stuff about it on my website. It was a wonderful trip for me. And I did talk about it. Earth and Sky. That's the vlog I did, Earth and Sky. But and I used a voucher to fly. I had ended up taking 4 planes, 2 out there and 2 back. And of course, I used my same old technique because of talking to people. Because now I've got a captive audience. You know, you're sitting on a plane with a stranger, one on each side. Usually one on each side, or one on the side of you. You know, at first they'll talk out of courtesy, and then with a little bit of time, because you're going to be sitting on a plane for a few hours, they usually open up, which is kind of nice. You learn some things about people. And I think they welcome it after a while, and they realize, hey, you know, this is all right. But on one of the legs of one of my trips, I was talking to this young man, maybe 30, 35, and family man and wife, traveling for work, and, you know, a child at home. And the subject came around the travel, and he kind of lit up about that. And he wished he could travel more now that he's got responsibilities, and, you know, he's living his life. But he said, you know, when you get out of college, and it's such a cliche, but this is him and a friend ended up going to, what are these countries? What is it called? It's like, let me think, you know, Nepal, India, and I think it's Bangladesh. And they spent like 6 months walking through all these countries, which is wonderful. You know, it's a little bit of a cliche. A lot of people, I think, do it. You know, it's like a little bit of a mini quest, you know, to do when you get out of college before you settle into your life, to go through for that backpacking walk. And I said, you know, I never did anything like that in terms of, at that age, you know, I had other things going on. And subsequently, I've traveled quite a bit, but I like that. One of my favorite books is a book called World Walk, about this guy who took 4 years to walk around the world. But anyway, so I said to him, I said, you know, so what did you glean from that? What can you take from that experience? You know, what did it give you? You know, you just did it for an adventure, but what did you come away with it? And he stopped to think, and I think, you know, he realized maybe he'd never really contemplated that ever. And after a long pause, he said, you know, I think the thing I really liked the most about that, or I observed the most about that, was in life, on that trip, a lot of people were walking and backpacking, and you meet a lot of people, he said, and some of them come into your life for an hour and you walk together for a while, and then you just part ways. Some of them you might spend a half a day or a day with, and then, you know, a few you might spend actually a week with, a few days walking together and staying in different places on your journey as you go on your walk with your backpacks, and, you know, discovering each other, discovering people, and just talking. And he said, no, that's kind of what happened. You know, he said he thought that was interesting, that these people come into your life, and then they move on, and you move on, and which is good. I think that's a good insight. And I said to him, I says, you know, kind of like life, right? And he startled for a second there. I said, yeah, it's the same thing, right? Except on a bigger scale. You're living your life, and throughout, you have that same thing that happens to you. You have these people come into your life, some of them for 5 minutes at the convenience store, some of them for maybe an hour, or maybe you're sitting next to some people in the movie theater for 90 minutes, or whatever. You have other co-workers at work that you may spend a few months with or a few years with. You have family members that you spend most of your life with. So these people come in and out on different intervals and at different intensities, I guess, too. And then they go, and you part ways. And then I said to him, you think it's possible? And he really was taken aback by that, because and I said, do you think it's possible that this is done on a scale beyond one life? You know, is it possible that if the reincarnation theory is true, does the same thing happen in subsequent lives? You live a life, and you meet some people, and these other souls and spirits, and you part ways, and then you live another life, and you meet some more people, and on maybe other planets and other solar systems and other galaxies, and whether that's true or not, I'm just hypothesizing here, but and then if so, then what's the meaning of that, and why does this happen? Why does it happen on a trek through Nepal, or on any trek? Why does it happen within the realm of your life? And why does it happen, if it happens, in the realm of multiple lives, as you journey through the universe, through all time, re-experiencing life with different people and different places, So if I were to say a couple of things to that, I'd say no matter which scale you're looking at, whether it be the smallest one of Nepal, or the largest, or the medium one of your life, or the largest one of the overall existence throughout all of time, I would say there are a couple of things to glean from that. One is embrace these encounters with people, no matter how small, whether it's a minute in the convenience store, and cherish those encounters, and try to try to give something to all those other people in that long chain of your life, and try to learn something from them. So share. Don't avert your eyes in the subway, or on the elevator, or in the convenience store, or in the movie theater, or anywhere. Openly seek these people, openly talk to them, openly be warm, teach them something from your life, learn something from their life, and kindness is the rule. Kind and gentle and open.